Hey guys, good afternoon. Welcome to Open Mic with Michelle and
Aly Leger.
Hey, it's a Wednesday. Are we going to make it, do you think?
I don't know, man. I don't know. Middle of the week, I'm definitely feeling it. That's for sure.
I'm feeling it too, guys. All right, let's go.
Sorry.
No, it's hard to get into that. I feel like dancing today.
Oh,
I feel like going out and joining the Secret Service to protect Trump.
I'm saying, dang, somebody needs to. This is crazy.
This is crazy.
Absolutely
Well,
ridiculous.
we got a lot to cover today, Allie. I know throughout the show, in the middle of the show, you got to stay tuned. You're going to help us understand some of what's taking place in DC that they
Yes.
don't want us to know, right?
Right. Well, I think it's just difficult for the average American to understand all the acronyms that the government uses, especially when you don't really understand proper roles and responsibilities of our elected officials. I hate that word, guys. Don't call them officials. They're not officials. They are elected representatives. They represent
Yes.
you. They don't officiate over you.
Absolutely, absolutely. And there's a vote coming up, I think, later this week, and
Yeah.
it feels like they're throwing in what we consider election integrity, and one of the things that we want to fight for in this country, for every American to be able to vote. And they're throwing it in with this omnibus spending bill. They're just trying to bait and switch again.
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 Again. This is
What a-
not the first time this happens. They do this all the time and it never changes, but we'll get to that.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. That's right. Let's start with, I think, something that we can all agree is kind of scary. The FBI is now taking over this investigation. Obviously, Ron DeSantis, thank God, is running a parallel investigation too, but it's still in the hands of the FBI, from what I understand. And Ron DeSantis said the other day was so wonderful. He said, "How can they be the ones trying to investigate when they're also trying to prosecute them for other things? Do we really trust them?"
Exactly. Exactly. None of that makes any sense. I mean, to the average person, when you have someone that is actively trying to prosecute you and then trying to investigate a situation where you were almost shot at, I just, it doesn't make any sense. So I do think that it is necessary to have a parallel investigation for sure. And maybe even an independent one somewhere down the line, just in case, like they're doing with J13 and the J13 forum with 5 of our congressmen. So who
Right.
really knows?
There's been a lot of representatives who have stepped up and kind of shared their doubt in sort of being able to really make the changes to be able to secure Donald Trump the way we should. A lot of them, as you know, Allie, because you rub shoulders with them, they have experience, sniper experience. They understand
Mm.
the other side of it. I thought this was an interesting video that you had actually shared. Benny Johnson's show interviewing Eli Crane. You just want to take a second to hear what he had to say.
Jeffrey Beltry is the person who's in charge of this investigation. Before he got promoted, he had to delete a bunch of anti-Trump posts on Facebook that he made. And then the same FBI that raided Mar-a-Lago with guns drawn and with a kill order at Mar-a-Lago, now saying they're here to fully protect the president. It doesn't make any sense to me, Congressman.
Yeah, you're right. And this is the same FBI, Benny, that I believe, I'm about 90% certain, has continued to lie to us about the January 6th pipe bomber. Director Ray told me in a committee hearing that he was doing everything in his power using, he went over all the resources that he had committed to, solving the January 6th pipe bomber situation. The one guy that could have created multiple mass casualties in Washington, D.C. on January 6th, who hasn't been caught yet we were able to, round up all over the country, American citizens that in many cases were allowed to walk into the Capitol.
Absolutely. He's making the case there, Allie, as we've heard many times before, that we have no problem hunting down grandmothers who
Right.
were at the Capitol on January 6th, but they miss somebody hiding in the bushes for how long was it?
12 hours for 12 hours. I mean, and he's not even from Florida. So it's like, what the heck were you even doing here? And later on in that video, I mean, you guys can go find it on X. You can find it everywhere, really, pretty much. But I would recommend you finding it on X. X is like the free speech platform of all platforms. So go support X, right? But
Right.
later on in that little segment or interview that Representative Eli Crane was giving with Benny Johnson, he literally says that there could be a mole in the Secret Service. There really could be. I mean, these are questions that average Americans are asking. These are not just questions that, we're asking, but we have representatives that have, security experience asking the same questions. And we also have Dan Bongino, who used to serve as Secret Service and protection for assets. And he's asking the same questions. And to him, in his brain, it just doesn't compute. There has to be somebody that is giving this information to people. And when you have Ron DeSantis saying in his press conference, I've played golf with the president, and I know that that's a weak point for 4, 5, and 6 on the golf course. I don't play golf, so I don't really know that.
No, you're right. He said, as soon as I found out it wasn't just, gang fire or something, as soon as I knew, he said, I knew right where
exactly where the breakdown was. And that right there just shows, the breakdown in one communication and how lax the Secret Service is when it comes to securing the perimeter when we have a president who has had an attempt on his life already.
Absolutely.
I mean, the man was shot. It's not just an attempt on his life. He was literally shot. That is a catastrophic failure for Secret Service. So,
and how does that area, Aly, how does it go when the president, I mean, we've been locations where the governor or these other, are even where Trump is, and there's a sweep that, everybody moves out of the building. You have to, then they let you in. There's like this whole process before he's going to be there. And I'm not talking about while he was president. I'm talking about since he's left the White House. That's protocol. So who doesn't sweep that area? We were joking yesterday. I'm like, don't they send the dogs out? Like, who didn't let the dogs out on this one?
Who didn't let the dogs out? Like, where is this aerial, the aerial surveillance? I bet you if this was Barack Obama or, anybody currently sitting in the White House right now, this would totally be different. And the news cycle, we would hear about it constantly.
And it would be blamed on somehow like white supremacist
absolutely
people from Florida. Like that's how it would be propagated. Yeah. It's crazy. Yeah, this is so stay tuned for more of that. I'm sure we're going to get more information. I'm hoping, I'm really hopeful, Aly, that this might be, in my opinion, sort of a way for Ron DeSantis to sort of show those of us who really did not want him to run for president yet. We wanted to keep him as governor. Show us what he has behind him. Is he really one of the good guys that's out there just wanting to do the right thing? So I'm hopeful to see what comes out of that.
Yeah, I think good things will come from this. So
I hate to do this because I know people, it's like, I feel like we're just Debbie Downers giving them all this information. But did you see P. Diddy? I don't know if he did or didn't he? When you're going to pick a name like that, you got to know that's going to be used against you.
Clearly he knows he's in deep shit because he denied bail. He denied bail.
He doesn't want to be out.
He doesn't want to get out.
He's like Epstein.
They're gonna come for him, and honestly, I really think he's just one of the other puppets. Once they get rid of him, I'm sure they're gonna try and get rid of someone else that has all their secrets. But there are so many different charges with this. There's like bribery, racketeering, sex trafficking, witness tampering, coercion, drug trafficking and distribution, kidnapping, arson, kidnapping, physical violence, and so much more. And then who the hell, first of all, let's talk about this. Who the hell has 1,000 bottles of lube and baby oil? What is happening? That is just wild. I don't understand.
Wait, how many bottles?
1,000, over 1,000. I can't.
That is not a date. That's not a date.
That is, wow.
I don't know how much time we want to spend on that. That is not a date, Diddy.
But what I do want to mention though is that how long have we waited since Jeffrey Epstein has been, was arrested and then was murdered? Like, he did not commit suicide. I don't care what anybody says. No. The man did not commit suicide. All of that information has been very sketchy. Nobody has gotten to the bottom of it. And we still don't know who's in their black book. We don't know who the clients were.
Nobody's been charged.
Nobody's been charged for it with him and Ghislaine Maxwell. And it's not even underage girls. They were children.
Yes.
Use the right
Thank
word.
you.
Children.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh. So I feel like we keep constantly getting distracted with other bigger issues, and we still haven't tackled the one issue of the Epstein Island issue, and that's a problem. Meanwhile, we have an open border, and our government is complicit in sex trafficking of more children. Like, this is what's
keep
happening.
Losing more and more children. I was just at an event the other day. They're up to 500,000 children that have crossed the border, been delivered to unverified, unvetted sponsors, sometimes bringing hundreds of kids to the same apartment building. And it's like, I wonder if something's off with this. And then they go back to check up 4 months later. And I mean, the place is just cleared out. Where are the children? Diddy.
No one's asking these questions, but we're sitting here worried about Diddy getting arrested.
Epstein. Yeah. Oh, this is crazy. This is crazy. Do you think there's going to be more chips that fall, especially in the entertainment industry?
Well, I mean, Charlemagne the God, on his show the other day, or I believe it was yesterday, he said, if you've been to any of these parties, you're going to jail. And I hope so. I hope so.
But there should be no respecter. Yes. No respecter of title whatsoever.
Right. Well, and I hope some famous political people get brought down as well. Because we know that they've been linked to Epstein. And if this is Epstein 2.0, then we need to tackle Epstein 1. I mean,
listen, and this is a real thing, America, because there's such a thing as these honeypots where they get not just our celebrities, but our elected officials, right? They get them on video or on audio, doing stuff, bribe them, and you've got them, and it's foreign governments.
We don't even know who was in the chamber having sex in the chamber. We know we got rid of the staffer, but who the hell was the other person?
They probably got their lube from Diddy.
Oh my God.
Oh, it makes me.
Oh, you did. Oh, you did, Michelle.
I did. Stop desecrating everything in this country. And that's what it is. You can't do it in your bedroom. You got to go do it on Capitol Hill, because you understand that it's evil. It's evil laughing in the face of everything that this country stands for. It makes me mad. Makes you mad. Are you sipping your coffee at home, guys? Are you okay?
Get it.
Buckle up, because school's in session a bit. Listen, this is a difficult topic, Aly, when we talk about things in Washington, D.C., because sometimes it flies right over my head, and I need somebody to say it again and say it again. And that's what people bank on. They bank on the fact that they're not going to understand it. We'll slide it in a 169-page omnibus spending bill or 1,000-page spending bill. Later this week, we are going to have our representatives voting on what I was hoping, the SAVE Act passed through the House, which if you're not
July 10th, 2024.
Which basically does what we think already should be done in this country. It makes sure that illegals cannot vote, that we have free and fair elections, and that if your elected officials or those that run and operate elections, if your supervisor of elections, if they're caught doing something, that there's a way for you to hold them accountable. That would have been wonderful. But no, instead of trying to now vote on that, they're shoving that into a huge spending package. Go ahead and let people know, what is a CR?
So Speaker Johnson decided to attach this to the spending bill, and it's like a part of the continued resolution. That is what a CR is. And a continued resolution really is a temporary measure to fund the government activities for a limited amount of time. So essentially what this is doing.
Wait a minute. So is that like, I can't pay my bills this month, so let me go to the bank and take out a loan? Is it something as silly as that, kind of? Like, we want to fund it because we're not balancing.
Right. Yes. Here, let's figure out how we can continue to fund certain things, even though we can't afford it. We're just essentially going to kick the can down the road, kick the responsibility down the road, and it's not going to lead to anything, because it will eventually get stripped out by the Senate, because we don't have Senate majority. And a lot of the senators that are currently sitting in office are Democrats, and they don't want anything to do with election security. They don't want to secure our election. They don't want to secure our borders. They are all lockstep in making sure that America completely is dismantled. So, and then, I mean, we even do have some Republicans that want this. I mean, there was an interview with Martha, I believe it was on Fox Business, and she's with Representative Corey Mills and another representative, and they're talking about it, and one is for it and the other is definitely clearly not. And I think I shared that with you. So.
Yeah, you did. Let's go ahead, guys. This is a little over a minute, but it's packed with good stuff. Yeah.
You said you would vote no to attaching the SAVE Act to the continuing resolution. Why?
Well, because it's the exact same song and dance, Maria, that we see all the time, where we try to attach something that we know the Senate's going to strip out, and then we get a clean CR, which has happened 5 times now. That continues to kick the can of irresponsibility. Look, if we pass the SAVE Act, we're going to end up spending $6.3 billion a day, $3 billion in interest payments, $77,000 per second, driving up our debt, which is already over $36 trillion. And by the way, as I've mentioned previously, we're going to spend more in servicing the interest payments on our debt than we will our entire national defense annual spending. Plus, this CR will not allow new programs of record, which also hurts our military and our defense. And so the whole thing is that we've had 2 years. We've passed about 73% of appropriations so far. There's about 27% that's left. I'm not going to continue to do the same song and dance if the Senate is not going to take up the SAVE Act, which, by the way, passed July 10th of 2024, and they're not going to take up H.R. 2 to secure our borders. Then what are we doing? Because we told the American people we're going to secure the borders and we're going to get inflation under control. Adding more debt will cause more dollars to be printed, more inflation, and the middle class and lower class will get wiped out. So I'm going to take the responsibility, shut the government down or shut the border down and protect our elections.
Woo! Why don't we have more like that?
Can we multiply him by 400?
That was Mills, right?
Yes. I'm so glad he's in Florida. I'm glad he's standing on business. He's one of the few that really understands his role and responsibility. He gets it. He understands the assignment. And not just that, 1, he's prior service. 2, he's a businessman. So he understands how the budget works. And I like the way that he's able to break it down in a way where the average American can understand it. Yes, he's spewing a lot of different numbers, but when you slow it down and you kind of like take a pause, you're like, oh my gosh, we're spending that much a day, that much. That's insane.
More than the defense budget.
Guys, and I'll get to that in a second, but we don't even know a trillionaire. There isn't a trillionaire on the planet right now. Maybe Elon Musk will be a trillionaire in like 2037. Yeah. But right now, we can't even comprehend what a trillionaire is. But that's how much our debt is. And I like what he said about it doesn't include funding to our military. Guys, do you know that we're running out of military equipment because we keep sending it to Ukraine? Like, this is part of the problem. These spending bills, we keep giving our money away to other countries that don't need it. We need it more because we are under catastrophic failure in this country. Our infrastructure is under catastrophic failure. When you only have, for example, I'll give you Ohio. When you have 40,000 people in a city or in a state, and then you come in and you bring in 20,000 people on top of that, your infrastructure is going to falter, okay? Your schools can't handle it because they don't have enough teachers. They don't have enough classrooms. You can only have you're only legally allowed to have a certain amount of students in a classroom. Right now, everywhere all over America, including here in Florida, there's 55 students to a classroom. We're only supposed to have 35. Not even 35.
35 is a lot. Yeah.
35 is a lot.
Right.
That is a lot. It's like 28 to 30 students per classroom. 55. There are students that are having class outside because they don't have classrooms. There's students that are having class in the hallways because they don't have classrooms. We don't have enough school buildings. We don't have enough police officers. And yet our hospitals are overrun with all of the migrants that are coming in, the illegal immigrants that are being allowed to come in. They're being shipped in to the battleground states. They're not being, they're everywhere, but they're being shipped in to battleground states.
Absolutely.
And it is really done on purpose to cripple the infrastructure.
And they, we had the ability to talk to the director of Department of Children and Families here in Florida, in the state of Florida. Right. And she has said, because people have asked, what is the cost of this? What is this costing, let's say, just the state of Florida? She said, we do not even get the numbers from the federal government. We're trying to. So
they won't give you the numbers because they know that it's astronomical. We cannot survive under this. And then you want us, instead of securing our elections, which we already have on the books, we already have laws that say that non-citizens cannot vote. So instead of implementing forcing our sheriffs to follow the law, we have to pass another bill that probably won't be implemented because we don't have the infrastructure to implement it. But I get.
And Biden's not gonna, or he's not gonna sign the SAVE Act.
No,
it's never gonna go anywhere.
The Senate will never pass it. It will not see the light of day. So yes, while I understand the sentiment and I get it, it needs to get passed. And something needs to be done. But when you have the amount of people, we do not have enough Americans that are willing to step up and speak out and say, we can't do this anymore.
We can't continue to do this. We can't continue to do this. And, here in the state of Florida.
And like, Representative Mills says, this happened 5 times. It's like every time you doing something over and over and over again, expecting the same result is literally insanity. Why are we continuing to give the Senate and attaching certain bills to the Senate and it's not working? I had a conversation with Senator Rand Paul, and he's like, I don't get it either. He's like, I think, honestly, we should just take the SAVE Act in the Senate and attach it to the Board of Education, shut the Board of Education down because it's $60 billion. It's $60 billion that doesn't go anywhere. It's not used for anything productive for America.
It's all administrative costs.
Open and just shut that down and use that to implement the SAVE Act. It's no brainer. But because we have Mitch McConnell as the Senate leader, and he's weak sauce, limp Republican,
limp wrist, like my pastor says. Limp wrist Republicans. From the poll.
I'm sorry.
Well, Aly, and no, I love your passion for this because the American people are sitting at home and they're shouting with you because they get it and they feel this and they know that something's off. And we finally have a few representatives that are willing to stand up and say something. They compile all of this spending into omnibus packages. Here in the state of Florida, you're only allowed to pass legislation on one subject at a time. But if you're going to put Ukraine in with the border, in with funding for Israel after the October attack, well, it's
really just to point the finger and say, oh, look at you really crazy Republican. You don't care about this. You don't care about that. Both sides do it. Knock it off.
Stop playing around with our elections and our safety and our southern border.
I'm going to come down there with my chancla in the middle of session, and I swear I'm going to smack tables. Y'all think I'm playing. I'm not playing.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
I'm so tired of it. Act like adults. Get the shit done. You're there for a reason. Do the job.
Get it done. Do the job. Don't make the moms come back to DC.
I'm sorry.
Don't make the moms. I want to start it too soon. I want y'all to hear this. So we've got a couple of people in the media who are constantly, Aly, they're constantly still sharing their rhetoric. We have twice now that former President Trump was nearly assassinated. So God's graces are over him, but it doesn't stop people like Karine Jean-Pierre. Am I saying her name correct? I always call her Jean-Pierre. From going out and saying the most awful things. I think it was 2 days after President Trump missed another assassination attempt on his life. She's coming out and she's saying he is I don't want to misquote her.
Look at Merrick Garland. Merrick Garland won't even charge him with attempted assassination.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
He won't.
Lord, take a look at Karine Jean-Pierre. This is the press secretary for the White House. And her lovely rhetoric about Donald Trump, of course, after somebody just tried to take his life.
Just to clarify, so you're saying that the president and vice president believe that former President Donald Trump should be toning down his rhetoric?
So I'll say this. President Biden has been clear-eyed about the threat that the former president represents to our democracy. He's been clear-eyed about.
Jeez, the threat. He's a threat. What does that tell the American people if you're talking about somebody repeatedly being a threat? You're inviting quackos from the left to go out and try to assassinate him. How is she not being swatted right now?
I mean, and there was another reporter there that we even asked her, like, how was this effective? Wouldn't you how is this effective? You're still calling him a threat to democracy. Are you going to use a different word to describe him? Because now this is the second attempt on his life, and you don't think that has anything to do with these people that are taking your words seriously and going out to try and shoot this man. And she walks out the room. She doesn't even acknowledge.
She was reading, and then I don't have notes for that.
That's it for today. I'll see you tomorrow.
She's from the same school of Kamala. I don't.
What
see
am
that
I
here.
doing? Oh my gosh.
But Aly, some people get it. Some people get it. I know we don't have a lot of time. I just want to listen to this for a quick minute. I have been on this man's behind for a long time. I do not really care for him a lot. But when I see him kind of almost having a sense of humanity, I think, okay, some people get it. Chris Cuomo, right? We remember Chris Cuomo. He, the COVID guy that was so harsh on those of us that didn't want to stand 6 feet apart. Take a listen.
I don't get it. That's why I reached out to Trump. I wanted to just say, listen, I'm really sorry that this is going on and it's being dealt with this way. Not because I'm in favor of his politics or what he says. I criticize him all the time. That's my job. And he deserves it. But he doesn't deserve this. A guy pointing an AK-47 at him while he's playing golf? And we take solace in the fact that the guy didn't get any rounds off. If I had been through what that guy's been through in the last 2 months, you would not know where I am. You would never see me on TV again. No way I would do that. I don't know how he does it. He's got kids, they're adults, but he's got grandkids. He's got a wife. People giving crap to Melania Trump, worrying about whether or not there was a plot around his husband. How could she not? People mock her. And then her husband has a guy pointed with an AK-47. Where are those people apologizing?
Ooh, I get goosebumps just hearing it.
Just hearing it. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Chris. Thank you. I appreciate that. When you are up against and you are informed with different information than what you have previously known, and your eyes are open and you're seeing these things and you come to the conclusion, you're just like, wait, there is something clearly not right here, and you make different decisions. I appreciate that. That's growth. So that's good for you, Chris.
Absolutely. And I love how he says, I don't like his policy.
You don't have to like his policy.
We used to be able to disagree on policy and still go, oh my gosh, but you're a human being. You have a family.
Michelle, when you are a country that's okay with killing 200,000 babies a day, what is it? 200? Was it 200 million? 200 million. It was 200 million a year. 200 million a year. You're willing to kill children that are growing inside their moms. They're being carried by their moms. When you are a country that is okay with that, killing innocent children, you're not going to care if it's a grown man in his almost 80s, right? Like,
absolutely right. There's no respect for life. There's no respect for life. I think there were 25 murdered right outside the Democrat National Convention in a mobile home that they had set up there to do abortions. It's really crazy. I'm glad to see we need more bold people who, can say, listen, maybe I'm not voting for him, but this is going too far. We need more of him, less of Jean-Pierre. That was just
and then who's next? Who's next, right? Like, because they're saying it's his fault because of the mean words that he uses on Twitter, the mean things that he says. So if I say mean things, it's okay for you to shoot me. If you say mean things, it's okay for me to shoot you and try
Don't
to
watch this show.
Is that where we're going with this? That's just how we're going to do this here? Complete anarchy and chaos?
Yeah. I thought they were anti-anarchist.
Oh, he's just exercising. Oh, they're just exercising their free speech. Well, what about mine?
Absolutely. Speaking of free speech, we are going to be on X Spaces a week from today at night. So you have to follow Aly at Real Aly Leger on X. Follow me, Posey for Florida on X. We are out of time again. We're out of time again, girl. But we won't be out of time on the X Spaces, guys. So make sure you tune in. And we are here Monday through Friday, open mic with Aly and Michelle right here. Till next time, guys.
All right. See you tomorrow, guys.
Yeah.